All right, so we are going to now solve an oblique triangle. So the first thing we need to do is know what an oblique triangle is. An oblique triangle is a triangle that is not a right triangle. So any triangle that does not have a 90-degree angle. So we need to keep in mind that the Pythagorean theorem, as well as our trig ratios, those only work for 90-degree angles. So we're not going to be using those anymore. Instead, we're going to use the law of sines. So the law of sines says that the sine of an angle divided by the opposite side, those ratios are all congruent. So sine A divided by side A is equal to sine B divided by side B, which is equal to sine C divided by side C. Now, notice that even though we have 3 ratios and they're all equal to each other, we're only going to be using 2 ratios at any given time. Okay, so let's do an example. So copy down this triangle, triangle ABC. And what we're going to know is we're going to know that angle B is 103 degrees and angle A is 35 degrees. And then we're going to also know that this side over here is equal to 20. And we want to solve this triangle, so we want to find all the missing sides and angles. So the triangle sum inequality is still going to be true. All triangles add up to 180 degrees, whether they're right triangles or not. So to find the measure of angle C, we're going to take 180 degrees. We're going to subtract 103 degrees and subtract 35 degrees. So our measure of angle C is equal to 42 degrees. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that on my diagram. All right, so now we're going to come in and try and find our side. So you always want to start with what you know. So look here, we know angle B and we know side B, right? The side across from angle B is side B. So I'm going to start with my formula part that says sine B over B. And I'm going to go ahead and try and find side A, which is across from angle A. So I'm going to say sine A over A. So those are the pieces that I want. Once I set that up, all I have to do is plug in my numbers. So sine of angle B is 103 degrees. B is 20. Sine of A, that's the sine of 35 degrees. And side A is the part that I don't know. So now I'm going to go ahead and solve for A. So I'm going to come in here and do my cross product. The cross product is just a shortcut for multiplying both sides by A and then multiplying both sides by 20 and then dividing. So this is just a shortcut. So I get A times the sine of 103 degrees is equal to 20 multiplied by the sine of 35 degrees. Now, remember your goal. Your goal is to solve for A. You're trying to get A by itself. So you're going to divide both sides by the sine of 103 degrees. Anything divided by itself is 1. So you have A times 1, which is just A. Once that letter A is by itself, that's when you're ready to type into your calculator. You want to make sure that your calculator is in degree mode. Okay. Type in 20 times the sine of 35 degrees. Close out your parentheses while you're typing that in. Then divide it by sine of 103 degrees. And we're going to round to the nearest tenth. We're going to get 11.8. All right. So now we know side A. Go ahead and put that on my diagram. And so now we're only missing side C. So again, I'm going to start with what I know. I know sine B over B. And now I'm going to set that up equivalent to sine C over C. So now again, it's a matter of plugging things in. Sine of 103 degrees over 20 is equal to the sine of 42 degrees over side C. Now we're going to do a cross product. C times the sine of 103 degrees is equal to 20 times the sine of 42 degrees. We want to get C by itself and divide by the sine of 103 degrees. Divide by the sine of 103 degrees on the other side. C is now by itself. Type it into your calculator. Make sure you put parentheses around the 42. Close out your parentheses. Your calculator is going to open your parentheses for you. Make sure you close it out. And C is equal to 13.7.